Welcome everybody. Today's video finds us over here in Ayutthaya. And we're right here on the old city island. And what we're going to take a look at is one of the first temples that was built here in the city. It was built back probably 1369, I believe. And it was built by Ayutthaya King Ramsawan. And it was built on the cremation site of his father, King Utong, who is the first king of Ayutthaya. So anyway, it has a really cool like Khmer style prong that's pretty well preserved. It has a lot of some nice styling and everything like that. It's kind of overlooked. It's right over here by Wat Phra Ram, but most people don't go to it, so it's not as crowded as some of the bigger sites. So anyway, it's just a stone throw away from Wat Phra Ram, but we'll walk over there and we'll take a look and see what we see today. So it's right over this way, and this is the area, and King Utong, his shrine is right over here. He's the first king of Ayutthaya. And then there is Wat Phra Ram, and we got some stuff going on here for like a festival for like the Ayutthaya city. So they're going to be doing some stuff out here up until the 22nd of February. And you can see this is a popular place. People ride the elephants from right over by the city pillar. They come over here to take pictures in front of the prong and kind of enjoy the day. So you can see they're loving it. And here goes one of the little tuk-tuks around. Yeah, you can hire out these tuk-tuks from like the train station or wherever, and they'll take you around to all the sites. You can see all the stuff that's set up for the Ayutthaya festival. Yeah, normally this stuff is all gone. It'll just be tuk-tuks and stuff parked here alongside of the road. And then right over here, this is the site. This is Wat Phra Ram. Now I say 1369, that's whenever they kind of estimate that this was built, but there is a few people that dispute the exact date, but it's pretty close. And you can see the kind of the moat around it. Now this temple was built kind of in a swampy area. They had to haul dirt in here to kind of build this up. This is one of the pay sites. So this is 80 baht to go here, or if you have the multi-temple package, it's 300 baht, and that takes you to 7 of the sites. Now it says right here that there are some mural paintings in here, but we won't be able to see them because they keep the inside of the chedi locked up off limits to people. So this is the way it was constructed. So it has the ordination hall and the wihan, and it has the central prong kind of between. And it has all the little chedi rai. That's the smaller little chedi around. All right, so here it is. This is pretty cool. So this is the gate that takes you in. You can see a little bit of the plasterwork. So this is built kind of like a little castle. And then it has the Khmer prong right there. Now they think this was restored the last time in 1761. By King Borommaracha, and that's why you see how good a shape it's in. And it would have been sacked by the Burmese in 1767, the same as all the rest of these. All right, so this is the wihan right here, or the sermon hall. You see it's kind of bowed out right there in the middle. And it would have connected to the cloister in the back that would have surrounded the prong. And then the ordination hall will be on the east side, and you can see the Khmer styling in that. Oh, this is something else. And it took, I think, up until like the 1440s for this temple to be completed. So it was started in like 1369. So it was like a multi-generation project. And you can see here how they carved the bricks down, and this would have all been covered with the plaster, just the normal stuff that you would see. And you see here, this one here actually doesn't have the columns on the inside. So this would have been, the walls would have been thick enough to support the weight of the roof. Ah, this is really cool. And it's a fairly large structure. And you can see that chedi there is just really spectacular also. Same as that one over there, it's kind of on the other side of that tree. And then here would have been the pedestal, would have had a pretty substantial Buddha with two right here in the front. And you can see the bits of it here. So it has the sandstone, and it would have had the head, but it's completely gone now. And then some bits of some other Buddha images. And then the pedestal's been restored also. Oh, and it would have had another image back behind. But you can see how they would have done this. So they would have cut these pieces, and then they would have put these holes in, and they would have tied it together with iron right there. And then they would have covered the top of it with plaster. And all this is the jumbled pieces of some of the Buddha images. And then they would have had a second room, it looks like, back here. So they would have had another image sitting right there, right in front of the prong. Oh, and you can still see there's the Garuda right there. Oh, that's cool. It's kind of right above the relic chamber. And you can see it has like the pediments, but with it being Khmer style, they didn't incorporate like lintels. The Ayutthaya era, they didn't put a lintel over the doorways, and that lintel would have had like a scene. Like in the Hindu, they would have had like a Vishnu or somebody like that, a Yala on the lintel. And they sometimes in the later temples, when they converted them to Buddhism, they had like reclining Buddhas and other things. All right, so you can see how this is. So they had a bunch of these smaller little chetties all around. You can see all the platforms for them right there. And then you can see how this had the redented corners. And then it had like the gopuras, the little entryways on the four cardinal directions. And then these are the chetty rai, the smaller auxiliary chetties. You can see the standing Buddha image right there. And it would have went to spire. You can see the lotus flower, and it would have went to the little spire at the top. Oh, this is exceptional. And it's on a square base, you can see. And then they incorporated the laterite stone into it also. You can see behind that plaster is all laterite. Yeah, so they call this entryway right here the Sumjara Nam. And then on the other side is the way you would have entered the like the pagoda, and they called that the Ruan Tat. And that's where the mural paintings are at. But I've never been able to get in there because they got it blocked off. So they probably do like some special events where like the VIPs can go in there and see, but not just the normal people like us that just wander up. Here's the cloister. So this would have had Buddha images all around it, and you can see the back of it. It would have had a covered roof over the top of it, and then these would have been windows right here that you would have been able to look right in and see the prong. I mean, it is absolutely spectacular. So Wat Maha Tat had a Khmer style prong, this one does, and then Wat Ratchaburna, those are the ones on the main island that would have had the Khmer prongs. And then there's some on the other side that have them also. And then there's a small little chetty that's probably the best styling. It's called Wat Som, and it's over kind of to the southwest of the city island. And it's a small site nobody goes to. I've been to it a few times. I really like going over there and seeing it. And you can see the little chetty field out there. And then that's the perimeter wall, and you can see all the lotus flowers. And what people do, they actually will bring the elephants right over there, and they'll pose for pictures sometimes. And then you can see here's some more of the Buddha images. You can see the holes that they would have had drilled for the iron to connect all those Buddha images here. But what a fantastic prong this is. And you can see the standing Buddha image in that little alcove right there also. And then it would have had the larger prongs on the four cardinal directions. And then all these little tiny chetty rai all the way around it. And you see it had some larger Buddha images here in the middle of this cloister. And you can see laterite stone and brick. Yeah, just really an exceptional ruin. And you can see how few people there are here. If you go to Wat Maha Tat, you got people all over the place. Same as Wat Sanphet. those are the main sites that everybody goes to, and Wat Phra is like another popular one. And then the one that's just off on the other side of the river, it's also really cool, especially for the Thais. They all go over there and they dress up in costumes. If you go to this one and you go to Wat Kudi Dao and Wat Mayong, there won't be a big crowd. You can go there and kind of explore at your leisure. And you can see what's left of the little Buddha image. And then they would have had two here in the corners of this cloister. And it had the little portals up at the top. And then you would have seen all the images all down here. And they're just in pieces now. You can see this is a head. You just seen the top knot coming right there. And you can see the eyes and a little bit of the face. That would have been a pretty large Buddha image. And you can see the standing Buddha images there. And those would have had a little bit of the Khmer elements around the base of that, and then it would have went up to a bell. And then this would have been the entry. And you can see one of the figures right there also. It would have been like the Garuda. So that is the little chamber that has the mural paintings. And we can't go into there. I really, really love seeing the mural paintings. So it's unfortunate we can't go in there. Yeah, so this is the way you can go up, but it has the sign, do not climb, and then it has a gate. You can see those steps are kind of uneven right there and weathered. That's the laterite right there, and then they put brick, and then you can see the entrance to the relic chamber. This is really, really spectacular. And you can see the plaster work over here also. And I'm not sure how many of these little chetties there are. There's like 22, I believe, something like that, all around the square base of the pedestal. Okay, so, oh, this is cool. This would have had the little balustrades also in the small little windows of that cloister. Okay, let's go back over here. Let's look at this ordination hall. Yeah, so you would have been able to come out of the back into the cloister, and then you would have been able to go to the prong here. So the restoration, they fixed this all up here, put the concrete. You can see that little bit of the wall here is kind of bowed in. And then this is the principal Buddha image, the pedestal for it. And they would have had a bunch of the smaller ones in front. So this hall here had the columns. You can see they're octagonal in shape. And you would have had the stairs that would have went up there, and you could have done, like put the gold leaf and stuff like that on the Buddhas. And the main one would have been right there. Now you wouldn't have been able to see the prong because the roof would have been there. And this one here, the walls are thinner, so it does have the columns here, the octagonal columns. And then this is the platform the monks would have sat on to do their chanting. And this is pretty cool right here. This is the very top of one of the columns. They have it sitting over here, but you can see the plasterwork. This looks like a lotus flower, and you can see the brick core with the plaster. Oh, that is really spectacular. And you would have came in from the east over here. This would have been the way you came in. It would have led you right into this hall. You can see the outer wall, or the crystal wall. And you can see the archway over the top of that. Yeah, and this would have had the 3 doors also. Okay, so there's several other smaller buildings all around here. Let's walk on this last side, and then we'll take one last look at the prong. Yeah, so you can see they braced this wall up here to keep it from collapsing down. And then it had an image in there. Yeah, so this is another one of the halls that had a really thick exterior wall, and it had a huge pedestal here for the Buddha. You can see the bits and stuff that are left of it. And then we got the ladies over here that are sweeping up the leaves. We got a squirrel going up that tree. And you can see the top of one of the chetties. The rest of them are just down to the base. And those are octagonal, so those would have been added probably late Ayutthaya, like 17th, 18th century. And that there's the cloister. And then the chetty field out here with all these chetty rise. And there's more vendors set up over here for that big festival. Yeah, I've never been to it here. It's February like 13th to the 22nd. I don't know if I'll have time to come over here in the evening to see this. So you can see what time does. You see how this Bodhi tree is kind of intertwined into the foundation. These things get into the structures and the roots take up space and it pushes bricks out, and it eventually causes the building to collapse or the chetties to collapse. So it's always a battle to keep them down. You can see the chetty here is in pretty poor shape. And then another building over here. So it looks like they have part of the building roped off here. So this is stuff, those are like drones it looks like. So they're gonna have a drone show over this for the festival. I got part of the temple grounds cordoned off. Oh, you can see this chetty here. So this is a Sri Lankan bell style, and it's missing the fanal up there at the top, but it's in still really nice shape. And it's on an octagonal base, and you can still see it's the three-tiered. You can see the three tiers here, 1, 2, and 3. That's for the 3 realms. And another building with a chetty that's back behind there. And you see the back side of the cloister. So this is the corner here. You can see those little portals, and you can see the plaster work and stuff. Oh, this would have been unbelievable. Same as all of these temples here. And this is back where we first started. All right, so one last look here. So we can see 2 of the Garuda. You can see the Garuda right there. And then these smaller little chetty rai. And then all the little tiny ones around. Like I said, I think there's 22 of those. And then you can see that brick entryway is mostly gone. But you still see all the styling up there. Oh, it's just unbelievable. So that's the whole temple here. We walked through most of it and saw what's left here. Well, that'll finish up our video over here at this Wat Phra Ram. This is fantastic. I really, really like this. This one's one that's often overlooked by most visitors here, but it's definitely worth your time. Come over here, spend 30, 45 minutes or so walking around here. You won't be disappointed. It's quite cool. Has some really cool photo ops. The chetty is one of the best that you'll see here in the old island. I don't know how tall it is, but it is quite substantial. This temple was originally built, like I said at the start, in 1369, and it's on the cremation site of King Utong. So he was the first king of Ayutthaya. So it has a lot of significance historically for the Thais. So definitely one you should come over here and take a look at if you get a chance. I would recommend it. And if you like the video, smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and you get to see some more stuff like this. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'm not an expert, but I really enjoy walking here, climbing on all these old buildings and stuff like that. So if you ask me a question, I'll do my best to answer it. And until next time, from over here at Wat Phra Ram in Ayutthaya, remember, life is a journey. So until next time, enjoy.
Planning a trip is always stressful, but Yesem takes one of the stresses out. Open the Apple Store or the Google Store, search for Yesem, install the app, and then you can search your plans. They have regional, they have country specific, or they have worldwide, and you can have pay-as-you-go plans as well. Installing the app is super easy. First-time users use the code ENDLESS25 with a capital E, and it will save you up to 20%. It takes about 3 minutes. Just follow the simple instructions. You can activate the plan immediately or upon arrival. Then all you simply do is open up the settings, turn your line off, turn Yesem on. You can check your balance at any time through the app. And then when you're at the airport, just simply walk by all of the eSIMs and enjoy your holiday.